Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle K Cube, and today, as always, I'm joined by AJ Binky. What's up, man?
Hello, I've been upgraded to as always now.
Hey, well, star of the show.
I suppose it has been a while since I've missed one.
Yeah. Well, today, now that we've talked about all our drama in our last episode, all the shit that went down in RLCS land, today we'll be talking about NA Regional 3, EU Regional number 3 Swiss, before taking you guys around the world and finishing off with overtime. So let's just jump right in. We got a lot to talk about. AJ, you want to run us through our Swiss results?
Yeah, but I don't think Winnie wants me to. You take this one.
Fair. Going 3-0, we have TSM and Gen G. Going 3-1, we have OG, G2 Stride, Omelet. Going 3-2, Luminosity, Space Station, and M80. And those round out your top 8. So teams not making the top 8, starting out with those teams that are 2 and 3, Pirates on a Boat, Dignitas, and Boulevard. Teams going 1 and 3 are the Muffin Men, Snowmen, and Young Whippersnappers. And teams going 0 and 3 are Shopify Rebellion and NRG. That's an interesting list. Does anything stick out to you from that?
TSM first seed, dropping one game.
Hey, I mean, I'm here for it. We've kind of been on the TSM bandwagon since the beginning, but that is certainly an unexpected result.
Yeah, that's impressive. NRG dropping 0-3.
I mean,
That's kind of ridiculous.
yeah. Like, at this point, like, 3 roster changes. Like, do we expect anything less?
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Other than that, I guess maybe Omelet top 8.
yeah,
Argue that.
I mean, it kind of seems like they finally started to put it together, right? Like they beat Luminosity in 5. They swept M80, the best team in the world according to Johnny Boy, right? M80 Swiss.
Yeah,
But
I guess it's no longer a thing, huh?
I guess not. Well, I mean, they still made it through top 8, right? And we'll talk about that more as we go along. But I think we got to talk a little bit about the regain from OG. Right after coming out a little bit flat against M80, they sweep Young Whippersnappers. They sweep SSG. They sweep Dignitas to make it in. And what a run from them! Like they've really righted the ship.
I'm glad to see it.
Me too.
Boy, Com's going to Copenhagen.
Yes, he is. But I mean, like realistically speaking, a lot of the teams that are in the top 8 we expected to be in the top 8, and those were reflected in our predictions, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But now we'll jump into our biggest winners and losers from the Swiss stage. Starting out with the winners. First and foremost, I have TSM. Huge result for them, even if some people had said they had a little bit of a Mickey run, so to speak. Drawing up against Boulevard, Pirates on a Boat, and Omelet. But you can only play the games that you're drawn, and they did just that. They dropped one game. They were deserving of first seed this time, even though their competition may have been a little bit lighter than some of the others. Second would be Luminosity. They needed to make Swiss to make major qualification easier for them, and they were able to get the job done, albeit barely, squeaking through round 5 in a game 5 against Boulevard. But last but not least, we have Omelette, a huge result for them, including a sweep of the best team in the world, as I said earlier, jokingly. Swiss M80, taking 5th seed is really good. They're able to, realistically speaking, if you're normally 5th seed, you dodge G2. But unfortunately, they're unable to do that because G2 finished 4th this time, dropping a series to Gen G. But, I'm trying to. It's interesting, right? Because we talk about Swiss now, and then we'll talk about playoffs here in a minute. And I try not to recycle the teams, in biggest winners and losers from each segment. So that's the 3 that I got for now. Did I miss anybody, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't think so. I do have one question though.
What's that?
What's the tiebreaker if the games and goal differential are the same?
I believe it may be seeding or goals against. I'm not sure.
I feel like it would have to be goals against first. Interesting. I might have to look into this.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Okay. Now moving on to our biggest losers from Swiss. First, I got Pirates on a Boat. A tough draw for them getting M80 in round 5. But that's a series that you need to win if you want to be a major team, and they were not able to do so. They weren't able to do enough to make top 8, and ultimately their spot in the major fell with that result against M80. So close, yet so far. Secondly, this is going to be a little bit of a weird one, but my second loser for the Swiss stage would be Rocket League fans everywhere. So what a tremendous run, first and foremost, from the Muffin Men. You thought for a brief shining second that they were going to reverse sweep the Swiss stage to keep the run alive, but ultimately they were not able to do enough to eliminate M80, and that, as most of you may know, that was Squishy's last competitive RLCS game. And so for that reason, Rocket League fans everywhere are losers because we no longer get to see him compete in RLCS. And
I don't
then
remember which caster it was, but they said that one of the teams should pick up was it Squishy as a coach
yeah,
for a day? I don't know, I don't know how that would work with being a content creator for a MENA team and a coach for an NA team.
I don't think that would go
was
over very
hilarious.
well.
It'd be so funny though.
It would be very funny. Have Cloud9 pick him up for a day so he can retire as a Cloud9 member.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some real conventional sports type shit.
Yeah.
But
funny.
Last but not least, our third, and in my opinion, probably the biggest loser from this weekend is NRG. The worst team in Swiss, with one playoff appearance this split, and it was a quarterfinal appearance. It's not good enough for one of the titans of Rocket League. 3 roster moves, still no results. They need some big changes if they want any chance whatsoever of making Worlds. I think we potentially could be looking at a 4th roster move here for them once the roster transfer window opens on April Fool's Day. But they did not do enough. They won 5 games total with a -4 game differential, and they lose to 3 teams that probably they shouldn't lose to in Boulevard, Young Whippersnappers, and Pirates on a Boat. Who'd I miss? What do you think?
I don't know that you missed anybody.
Really the only one that I was on the fence about would be Dignitas, because with the high profile edition of Arsenal, they would have expected more, but with losing a major spot in each of the major regions, it really makes it quite difficult for these teams to get into that top 4.
Did they make any top 4s?
Dignitas, no.
I didn't think so. So of the Of the qualifying teams, if you had to pick a winner and loser of
Dignitas
the
made one
qualifier
top.
tournaments,
Dignitas made one top 4 in the first regional.
did they?
In the first
Gotcha.
regional, yep,
Okay.
and they lost 4-1 to G2.
Gotcha. That makes sense. If you had to pick a winner and a loser for the entire 3 tournaments, what would you pick? One winner, one loser.
Loser is NRG. For me,
Yeah,
like
that's
it's high profile. It's Captain America. It's Garrett G. It's NRG, right? You know, former world champions NRG, right? Like they have such a cult following and a big fan base, and they're one of the titans of Rocket League in terms of like organizational support, right? They've been here for forever, and they just kind of didn't do anything. Like imagine like the meme of the stick guy poking someone on the ground with the stick. Come on, do something. Like that's what I was like.
Yeah.
I was feeling like for NRG the whole time.
for real.
Like,
That's a good way to put it.
come on, guys. Like your NRG. Like, can we do something? Like,
Yeah.
really? Like regional 1, they miss out on top 8. Regional 2, they make top 3 in Swiss, but then get swept by Luminosity. Right, and that's like really their only thing, right? They had 4 games in the playoff bracket in 3 events, and they got no wins. So,
Right.
like for me, that's just an easy one. That they're the loser, and then the winner. Even though they lost this weekend, I have to say G2. I think the experiment has worked. I think that they're a fantastic team when firing on all cylinders. You certainly saw the mechanical ability of Daniel doing some crazy things. You certainly see what Beast Mode and what Atomic are capable of. But I think a close second has got to be Gen G. They've only continued to ramp up as the split has gone along. They looked fantastic in the grand finals. We'll talk about that again in a second. But if I had to pick one, it's still G2 for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you?
I'd pick G2 as winner for sure. I have a different loser than you though.
Okay.
And let me find the current standings for
North America?
America. Yeah, where do I find those?
Um,
And why am I struggling so much to find it? Rankings?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Mm. Okay, so I guess I'll go with it. Pirates on a Boat for losers. Pretty much strictly because they haven't been picked up by an org.
Okay.
I mean, it's obviously no fault of their own. They seem consistent. They seem consistent enough that I think they should be picked up by an org. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about it. But I think because of all the changes to RLCS, I feel like they won't, and I feel like they won't through Major 2 also.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I can kind of see it right there as of like, and we'll talk about this again in playoffs, right? But like we were very close to seeing quite a lot of teams in a tiebreaker, right? So like that chase pack of Dignitas, M80, Space Station, TSM, almost Pirates on a Boat, like they almost all have the same amount of points. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, but I think that's a good one. I think that they're close, but they're not quite there. So just on the outside looking in, I kind of get it. So I think that's a good one.
I think if they made the major,
I think they get picked up in a
would
heartbeat.
have a chance. I don't know about that. I think they have a solid chance to get picked up. But I think because they didn't, they have literally no chance until.
I mean, at this point, is
next
NRG
season.
is NRG better dropping their roster and picking up Pirates on a Boat? Like, what's the difference?
Yes.
So,
but NRG's a big name, and they have Garrett G. So I don't know that, like.
maybe you
that
talk
actually makes sense.
maybe you talk to Garrett G. Hey, do you feel like coaching? You can coach this Pirates on a Boat roster.
That's a thought. I mean, like,
There's no way that happens. He's still going to compete. I'm like
oh yeah, 100%.
99.999% positive. But like, I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, like if you're just picking them up, they keep their RLCS
Yeah.
points. You're in a better spot, marginally better spot than where energy is. But the second
Yeah.
split is weighted more, so you have a better opportunity to improve, especially with the resources and talent
And,
acquisition team that energy has.
yeah, they've performed objectively better than NRG has. So
With
like,
less
I don't see
resources.
why. Exactly. With, I'm sure, far less resources. So I don't see.
That was my tinfoil hat. Like, there's
I
no way
don't
that
see-
happens.
Right. But like, I didn't even think about that,
Or Shopify,
and
even.
that makes so much sense. Yeah. Like, realistically, any of these orgs below. I mean, okay. I guess is deleted XD.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, they are, but they also aren't.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess it's mostly just those two.
Or Dignitas, too, I could see as well. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't know.
but who knows?
And like,
I don't-
realistically, they'd probably like have to pay them less, like as far as salary goes.
yeah, because they're all up and coming players. I
Yeah.
would agree. I would tend to agree.
That's so interesting. I never even considered it.
We may have to do a deep dive on this on a future episode. We got
Yeah.
we got a little bit. We got like 2 weeks in between. So I have like 3 episodes in between. The last regional and the preview for the major. So we'll have to look into that. But do
Cool.
you have anything else on that before we jump into our predictions for top 8?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, so for our predictions, we predicted, AJ, you predicted to make top 8 G2, Gen G, TSM, Luminosity, M80, OG, Pirates on a Boat, and Shopify. Incorrectly missing Pirates on a Boat and Shopify, and missing out on Omelet and is that Space Station? Yeah, Space Station. And I predicted G2, Gen G, Luminosity, OG, Space Station, M80, TSM, and Pirates on a Boat. And I missed out on Pirates on a Boat and missed Omelet. So that's where we stood for that. Next,
I incorrectly predicted G2 as the winner. Also,
yeah, as did I.
oops. Yeah.
But moving on to the playoff bracket. You want to run us down our quarterfinal matches?
Let's do it. We got TSM beating M80 in a butt clincher of a game 7. G2 taking down Omelet in 7. Gen G beating Space Station. SSG. I think I'm getting tired. Gen G beats Space Station 4-1. OG beats Luminosity 4-2.
Next in our semifinals, we have G2 sweeping TSM, and we have Gen G taking down OG 4-2, setting up a rematch of probably of the top 2 seeds in NA, and we have Gen G taking down G2 4-1.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna pull up like my predictions for this. don't
I
know.
have them further down. They're in there.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
So we
Oh,
didn't
yep.
we did not tweet them out. We put them in our Discord server. We did the bracket prediction like Google Doc, and AJ had a top 4 of TSM, G2, Gen G, and Luminosity, as did I. We actually had the same one, and we both had the winner of G2. We did not predict OG to win, and we did not predict Gen G to win. So 3 for 4 on that, and missing the winner, and another round of pretty successful predicting in that one.
Yeah, 75% all around. That's not bad. I'll take it.
Yeah, not at all. But with
So
these
what are the surprises we got here? What do we got?
so like the TSM match, phenomenal. I don't know that I necessarily
Oh,
called it a
incredible.
surprise, because
Yeah.
playoff M80 is completely different than Swiss M80, but Swiss M80 didn't show up this time. So I think the biggest surprise for me is Omelet taking G2 to Game 7.
Yeah, Omelet did some crazy stuff in Swiss though.
They did. Omelet took
Swept Swiss M80.
and beat Luminosity.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks like they're finally starting to put it together. I mean, they have a good team. Like that's like three players that people that like are notable that are good players. It's Lion, Blazes, and Eel and Percy. That like they're a good team. I don't know that they're take G2 to game 7 good, but they were certainly worthy of a top 8 appearance in this regional. But I mean, they take game 1, like games 1 through 3 were 1-0 games. And like that like plays into Omelet's favor. And games 1 through 4 actually were 1-0, I'm sorry. And then every other game was one goal contests. And game 7, Champions Field, overtime, G2 get the winner. But also, they called it out on the broadcast. It didn't last for long, but G2 Omelet game 7 was the first game 7 in NA in any of the regionals this season.
Huh.
The first Champions Field in a best of 7. There's a bunch of them in Swiss because they're all best of 5. It's a little bit different, but this was the first one, and it was immediately followed up by the second one in the next series.
So there's been 2.
Yep.
And they were back to back.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
I think last Saturday, for Regional 3 was the most entertaining day of NA Rocket League that we've seen all season so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, I mean, Omelet taking G2, ultimately G2 wins, and they move on. TSM, we have to talk about that series. They take a 2-0 lead, and you think maybe they can fight through the timeout buff, but M80 are able to take a close one, 1-0, and then a overtime in Game 4, overtime in Game 5, overtime in Game 7 for over 10 minutes of overtime in this series. 4 of the 7 games go to overtime. And it wasn't until Game 5 that M80 were able to even win an overtime game. But, TSM take the first 2, M80 takes 3, TSM takes Game 4. And then you're thinking, oh man, like, are they going to do this in 5? Nope. M80 take Game 5, 6 minutes and 43 seconds into overtime, and then they take Game 6, 3-2, and the casters and the people on the desk were talking about it. TSM does not take a timeout. The fact that they don't currently have a coach maybe influences that, but so they don't take their timeout, but they're able to prevail in Game 7 in overtime, 1-0. I mean, I don't know about you, but throughout the series, I mean, I'm sure there were stressful times, like you could see it in the face cams, but in between matches, before the match, Wavy was vibing, he was singing along, he was dancing, their whole team was laughing throughout the breaks, through the timeouts, all that stuff. They just looked like they were having a great time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you thought, but like I think that's the difference in this series.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, man, I wish I could have this much fun playing Rocket League.
Maybe that happens when you're good at the game.
Maybe. Guess I'll never know.
Yeah, me neither. But
yeah, they were for sure having fun. I didn't realize they didn't have a coach.
Yeah. No, not currently at least.
Hey, Farah.
Yeah. But, we follow up a banger of a Saturday with, kind of a lackluster Sunday, in my opinion. G2 sweeping TSM. G2 looked the better team. They were just quicker, and the mechanics were really on display. So, we'll talk about TSM here in a second, but a good showing for them. With OG beating Luminosity, they secure their spot in the major. Luminosity needing G2 and or Gen G to make the grand finals to secure their spot. They both did, so they get to go. A classic showing from Gen G. JNAPS, kind of set a little bit of a poor showing for them, but certainly a good series. It was very close. So congrats to OG, but good play from Gen G. And then we get to the finals, and I mean, every game Gen G scored 2 goals. In all but one, G2 scored 1 goal. I mean, that seems to be the kryptonite of G2, right? So their offense, like, despite all of the people, like all of the mechanical players, all of the prodigies, all of the stars that they have, they don't seem to put up as many goals as you would expect them to, and instead relying on very stout defense. They were not able to buy a goal in this series. And, even though their defense was good, Gen G was firing on all cylinders, and they just looked the better team in this series. Outside of Daniel's, incredible goal, for a half flip into an air dribble, into a flip reset to beat all 3 players by himself in a solo play.
It wasn't a half flip. He was just straight up going backwards.
Yeah. We half flipped.
Ridiculous.
Like it was a really, really good play from
backwards,
from Daniel.
flicked it into the air or something. It was crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. But that's kind of the playoff breakdown. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that before we jump into our biggest winners and losers?
Daniel's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
That's it.
But but from the playoffs, our biggest winners. First, I got TSM. A great series against M80 is enough to give them their first top 4 of the split. They're trending in the right direction headed into split 2. They were just not able to make a major spot due to OG's win over Luminosity, but a good showing for them, and they're trending in the right direction. OG is my second winner. From last place in the first regional to top 4 and a major spot. That's an incredible regain. What resilience and determination from them. I cannot commend them enough, and their mental fortitude to be able to do that. They looked really good until they didn't against Gen G, but that they've positioned themselves very well to make a run at the major. So congrats to them for doing so. And then last but not least, I have Gen G. They finally beat G2 twice this event, especially when it mattered most, and they got their first regional win. So congratulations to Gen G on a win, and hopefully this is a lot of momentum for them moving into the major. What are your thoughts on my list here?
I feel like you missed one.
Oh, yeah?
Right? Or did you mention this?
I just did my winners.
Okay. I was distracted for a second.
Oh, good.
Well, in that case, no. I think you're good.
Okay. Next, moving on to our biggest losers. First and foremost, I got Space Station. A good showing to make top 8. They were unable to make an impression in the playoffs and were almost swept by Gen G. That seems to kind of be the theme of Space Station. They're not really able to make a big impression. With that was their third quarterfinal appearance in a row, and they're never able to take more than 1 game in the quarterfinals. So chalk that up to. I'm sorry, they took 2 games in regional 2, but they're not able to make a very big impression. They're not able to make it out of the quarterfinals. Chalk it up to a bad draw. Chalk it up to bad seeding. What have you. But they need to do better if they want to have a chance to make a major. So for that reason, they're on this list. Secondly, I have Omelet. A good day to get them into the playoffs, but they have to still be thinking about what could have been. Falling to G2 in Game 7. As we said earlier, the first Game 7 of split number 1 in NA. That's a big result for them that they could have had. Could have really positioned them extremely nicely heading into a potential matchup against TSM. It could have kept them in major contention to had you beat TSM to if they win the event they're in. So they missed an opportunity there, and they were very close to doing so there. So that's why they're on this list. And last but certainly not least, Gibbs. Gibbs is on this list because Gibbs loves tournament formats. He said that if there was a 5-way tiebreaker, it'd be the best day of his life, past getting married, past having his kids, that would be the best day. And so we had a potential for a 5-team tie for a major spot if Luminosity had beaten OG. But alas, that did not happen. We went from having a potential 5-way tie and a tiebreaker needed to not needing any tiebreaker at all, and not having all of our major spots solidified before that. So for that reason, he's on this list. So RIP to Gibbs tiebreaker. Sorry, bud.
Would have been cool.
It certainly would have. We've seen it before in Sam. We've seen it before in NA, with like an extra series happening at the end of the day. So it would have been cool to see a kind of a 5-team mini tournament to make the major, but that did not happen. So did I miss anybody on this list, or is there anybody that you think should have been added?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna add biggest winner Limitless. I know we're talking NA, but Limitless could not have gotten a bigger W.
Yeah.
And losers. I believe.
Hey, we
believe we can hand that over to.
We can talk about that once we get to SSA. We're going around the world here in a little bit.
Okay. Do we have? Yeah.
So we'll talk about
That's where I'm putting them though. Biggest winners, biggest losers.
Okay.
You know where I'm going.
Yep, I do. So for our predictions,
so does everybody else.
Yes, they do indeed. For our predictions, our top AJ, you predicted a top 4 of TSM, G2, Gen G, and Luminosity, and I predicted the same: TSM, G2, Gen G, and Luminosity. We both had G2 winning. We were both wrong on Luminosity. We were both wrong on G2. Again, just recapping our predictions that we said earlier, but another good weekend of predictions. So hopefully we can keep that going heading into the major. So AJ, your series of the tournament. Do you have a contender on here?
TSM versus M80.
I think I could have guessed that one coming.
Yeah, you said it earlier. It was just the series was nuts. If you want to hear my explanation of it, rewind about 10-15 minutes in this and listen to KQ talk about it. Because it was ridiculous.
I mean, we were like live texting the match to each other. The post hits were no, or oh, that was so close, creams. It was.
Oh my god, he went nuts.
It got me out of my seat. That was a phenomenal series.
Yeah, that was. That's one of those ones that you go back and watch every once in a while, just like the Fury of Moist.
Yeah, gave me big Fury of Moist vibes. So we keep saying that, but until another series comes close to matching that, we have to keep bringing it up.
I don't know when that's gonna happen, if it does. Like literally every time I watch that, it gives me chills.
Yeah. But last but certainly not least for NA, we have our 4 teams solidified that will be representing North America and Denmark, and those teams in order are G2, Gen G, Luminosity, and OG. So with that, do you have anything else to add on NA before we jump across the pond over to EU?
Nope.
Okay. So you want to run us down our top 16 teams making a Swiss?
Let's do it. Top 16 in EU. We got Gentlemates, Belligol, Oxygen, Carmen Corp, Redemption, Team Vitality, Magnifico, BDS, Moist, Wildy, I don't know. Fast Forward 4-wheel drive, Endpoint, Team 3, Top Cougars, Solary, and Novo Esports.
Does anything stick out at you about this top 16?
Novo.
Fair. Kind of cool to see Solary making a top 16. That's K-Dop, Chaussette, and Rise Fox. So K-Dop makes his return, and as does Chaussette. And then a bunch of the same characters that we've seen before, but making the reappearance is Moist. So
let's go Moist.
So good for them. So now that we've talked about that a little bit, best name for EU top 16.
Ooh, I didn't even think about this. It's got to be Moist, right?
I think so.
Top Cougars is decent, I guess. Solary's all right, but yeah, you can't be Moist.
Yeah, no, you cannot. I would tend to agree on that one. So like with that, we can now predict a winner and our top 8 for this one. For me, I think the winner's pretty easy. I think it's Carmine Corps. I mean,
yeah.
Until
you said that about G2 though.
I thought so too, but now going into the major, I can know that I predicted what I thought to be the best team, and I think I'm still doing that. I don't think
Yeah,
like
that's
even if they went to Game 7 in the last regional, and even if they had to reverse sweep BDS the first time, I still think Karmine Corps is the best team in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
So I think that
Based
there's
off how they played last time, it's definitely not Vitality.
no, it is not at all.
So yeah, I'm going with Karmine Corp also.
Okay, and then do you have your top 8 solidified?
Yeah, my top 8 are Karmine Corp, obviously, BDS, Vitality, Moist, Magnifico, Gentle Mates, Oxygen, and Solary. I'm going with Solary.
Okay. And my top 8 is Karmine Corps, BDS, Vitality, Gentlemates, Magnifico, Redemption, Oxygen, and Moist. So a lot of similar names in there, a
So-
lot of teams that we've seen before,
We're pretty much the same except for Solary and Redemption, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have Solary, I have Redemption. So with that...
Interesting. I'm surprised you picked Moist.
Yeah, I mean, I just like... I still like Joyo. I think that
Yeah.
I believe in Oli. So if you can get a good event out of Resi, I think that they have the potential to squeak into that top 8. I mean, I don't know how much I believe in any of the other teams. I mean, you've seen Top Cougars do it, you've seen Top 3 do it, but they had a poor event last time, and I just don't know, how good Solary's going to be.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
the only
fair.
reason that I say that.
I got the hopium.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we have one team that solidified their spot in Denmark representing EU, and that is Karmine Corps. We have 3 major spots up for grabs this weekend, the last 3 major spots up for grabs. So make sure you to tune into that to find out who else will be representing EU in Copenhagen. But do you have anything else to add on EU before we jump around the world?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so now we'll take you guys around the world, starting out in OCE. We have the teams making the top 8 here, and that is Kaka's Minions, The Bus, Pioneers, NBN, Power, Ground Zero, Gremlins, and Chiefs. With the top 4 being Kaka's Minions, Pioneers, Power, and Chiefs. Ultimately, Power winning out the day, beating out Pioneers 4-2 in the grand finals. This is kind of a result that we expected, but let's do from top 8. So for playoffs, best name for playoffs.
Gremlins. Honorable mention to the bus.
Agreed. I think we're in agreement on that one.
Yep. Top 4.
Kaka's Minions.
Easy.
Yep. Glad we're on the same page with that one.
Yep.
So, anything unexpected there for you, or is this kind of things have kind of played out as expected?
Nah, I mean, no surprises.
Fair. And with that, your 2 OCE teams are solidified for Denmark, and those teams are Power and Pioneers. Chiefs just narrowly missing out. Maybe had they made the first regional, they would be in that spot, but they are not.
Rough.
Indeed. You want to take us away with Sam?
Yeah, let's talk about some winners and some losers, huh? Well, first of all, let's go over top 8. We got Furia, Hero Base, Complexity, Ninjas in Pajamas, Mulattoes, W7M Esports, Not Exposed, and Secret. And for our top 4, we had Furia, Ninjas in Pajamas, Hero Base, and Complexity, with Furia taking the dub. So, first of all, any surprises here?
Crew not making it into the top 8. I think that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
they went 0-3, so they did not have have a
Wow.
very good event. They were
Interesting.
able to win 4 games total. I am a little bit confused as to what has happened with Furia. They lose to Mulattoes, they lose to Team Secret, and they lose to Timeless. So, that's something that you don't really expect from Crew. That's still a good team in my opinion. That's AJG, BEMS, and Card. So, hopefully they can right the ship, or maybe they're going to need a roster move. I'm not sure, but certainly Furia and Complexity both coming back in the same like time frame for the same split has got to be tough for them. So hopefully they can regain for next split, because we're still Crew fans, even though the homie Brad doesn't play for Crew anymore.
You betcha.
But best name from top 8?
I mean, we've been saying it all along, right?
Yep.
Ninjas in pajamas.
Agreed. Same for top 4 for you?
Why, yeah.
Okay. And it is now solidified. The teams representing South America going to Denmark are Furia and Complexity. So
We're also going to throw in biggest winner, Limitless.
for
Oh,
us,
wait, no.
for us to say, this is Sam. We're getting there.
Man, I told you I'm getting tired.
Yeah, it's
Took
all
my
good.
melatonin too early tonight.
Fair. Next up in MENA, teams making top 8, we have Falcons, Twisted Minds, Rule 1, Team ROC, Bravado Gaming, R8 Esports, Dragons Esports, and Vision Esports. Our teams making top 4, we have Falcons, Bravado, Twisted Minds, and Rule 1, with Team Falcons sweeping Rule 1 in the grand finals. Kind of as expected, right? It's Falcons, it's Rule 1, it's Twisted Minds, and then everybody else.
There's no surprises here.
So, but that being said, best name for top 8.
I gotta go with Falcons again, right?
I mean, I'm gonna stick with Rule 1 then.
Yeah.
So, and then
That's
it's the
fair.
same for top 4, because both the teams are in top 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And then teams representing MENA in this order are Falcons and Rule 1. So I'll also take APAC. I'll let you get SSA here. So in APAC, your teams making top 8 are Game and Gladiators, Chapati Dream, Elevate, Detonator, Kashikari, Sailing Esports, The Court, and Go Blocks, with the top 4 being Gladiators, Kashikari, Chapati Dream, and Elevate. And I have to talk about it a little bit. Our grand finals is Gladiators and Elevate for a chance to make the major. The winner makes the major, the loser does not, and Elevate take down Gladiators 4-1. So, it's kind of the top 2 that we were talking about. Chapati Dream and Kashikari are both, have solidified themselves as top 4 teams. So, congratulations to all of them and for solidifying, kind of their place in the region thus far. But, a big win for Elevate. So with that, best name from top 8?
Chapati Dream.
Chapati Dream. And then same for top 4?
Yeah.
Okay. And with APAC only getting 1 major spot, the team representing APAC will be Elevate.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Now for the region that you've been so excited to get to, SSA. You want to take us away?
Sub-Saharan Africa. Oh, my Lord. All right, let's go through top 8. NXT Quavates, Limitless, Bonjour, Astronix, Skill Quest. That's a pretty good name, actually. 77 Blocks, Shmongolia, Young Money Clan, and Owned Esports. Making top 4, we got Bonjour, Limitless, Astronix, Skill Quest, and NXT Quavates, with Limitless winning. Okay. Let's get the best name out of here first. What do we got?
Shmongolia, top 8.
Shmongolia, 100%. Top 4?
Astronix Skill Quest.
I agree. I do like NXT Quavates just because it's fun to say.
Even if Astronic is a foreigner.
Oh, are they? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunate. But yeah, that's fair. Okay. And, Limitless won, so obviously they have the best name in top 1. Since we've been doing that all along or whatever. Okay. Biggest winner of the split.
Limitless. They continue their dominance in SSA, and they prove that it is a 1-team region. Even with people who are coming from other regions, they still own all of you.
I was just going to say because they're Twitter.
Also true. Big plus in the positive
man.
category.
That was so funny. Okay, so I also want to add Rocket League in general, like literally whoever came up with the ruling to ban Young Money Clan.
No Money Clan,
True.
especially after they shelled out for those flights and a coach for only 2 days.
Oh my god, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but our last episode, the one that was posted on Sunday, the 3rd of March, if you want more of an in-depth explanation into what happened, if you're very confused, please go give that a listen. We talk in depth with Flash Pandy, AJ, and I on what happened, what the ruling was, what rules they broke, how excited and impressed we were that a ruling and a a decision came so quickly, and it leaves a good precedent for RL Esports moving forward. But we have to talk about it a little bit on this episode too, so that's why this conversation is so much fun to have.
Yeah, massive W to whoever made that call.
Yeah,
whoever made that call so quickly too.
Very quickly, very decisive. Props and
like
commendation to RL Esports. We don't give that out. We don't give that out super often.
We don't, but it's deserved.
Yeah. So you know what? I'll even give him one of these.
Oh, that's like the highest honor ever.
We don't even give those out. We barely give those out.
We
to
don't.
We didn't even give it out to ourselves for being like, B average predictors for the last month.
I think. Oh wait, yeah, 75% is C, right?
Yeah, but then we went through the one episode where we only missed one.
You know what? That's true.
So that really
That's
brings
true.
the average up.
It does. That's impressive. I don't remember the last time we did it.
Yeah, well,
It's huge.
they deserve it, and it's a cool
do.
storyline heading in. Even if some people are still wrong on Twitter saying that on the same ping, No Money Clan beats them, but they didn't and they haven't. So until they do, they can't.
True. And you know what? They're the biggest losers of the split and throughout the next year.
I think they're the biggest losers of RLCS,
Yeah.
like as a whole.
Yeah.
And notably for
You're not
me,
wrong.
the big a huge winner is just Limitless from like SSA, like kicking out the interlopers. Getting rid of the casuals
Yeah,
that are
for
coming to
real.
Farmer region, people that can't compete in their own regions. They're taking them down.
Going out for a quick vacation. Now when Limitless is around.
Yeah, so good for them to see Schmongolia, to see Bonjour, to see Limitless, dominating the way that they are, and being able to finish as highly as they have. So congratulations to them. Anything on any of these regions before we jump into one quick announcement before overtime?
Is this the announcement here?
It is.
In that case, I will say, just quickly, since we talked about it forever yesterday, Limitless made top 4 because Young Money Clan was disqualified, and they're going to Copenhagen because Young Money Clan is disqualified. They needed to make top 4 in this event to go to Copenhagen, which they did because their opponent in top 8 got disqualified. So,
However, we would like to point out that I think that Limitless still beats them regardless of if they get disqualified or not.
yeah,
But
It would've been-
has to be said. You're
it
right.
would have
You're
been
right.
the same exact thing as the 2 tournaments before.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, it happened. It would have happened either way. Yeah, that's it. Just first team to ever qualify for a major by DQ.
Indeed.
So funny.
But our one quick announcement is, in crazy RL Esports fashion, major number 2 has been announced. It will be June 20th to the 23rd. The location is yet to be announced, but they have given the date, and we're over 3 months in advance. So couldn't be Rocket League, giving people advance notice on something.
Okay, now when do we find out about location, do you think?
I bet at the major.
Oh, you know what? That's probably true. I was going to say like 2 weeks before.
They like
but
they
I
like to
think
do
you're right.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I had to guess, I'm saying
Minneapolis.
that it's going to be NA because they've given so
Yeah.
much advance notice, because people will need to get visas for sure.
True. Yeah.
That's my thinking.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But now, without further ado, let's jump into overtime. Overtime is brought to you guys by our Patreon supporters and by people who follow us on Twitter and are in our Discord. They send us questions when we ask, and we get to answer them on the air. So if you have a question that you'd like us to answer, leave them on Twitter, add us, put it in our Discord, etc. We get some fun ones. Starting out here from @uncle_che on Twitter. What is your favorite flavor of Pop-Tart?
There's an objective right answer for this.
Oh no. I feel like it's not the right answer then.
It's probably not. But you're probably wrong. What do you got?
Strawberry.
Okay, that's a good one. But s'mores.
It's good, but like for me at least, like I can't, like if I bought a box of s'more Pop-Tarts, like it'd be like an every once in a while thing for me. It's like almost like too sweet of a treat.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
like if I'm gonna have if you're gonna have a Pop-Tart like every morning for breakfast, I'm grabbing like a strawberry or a cherry just because it's like it's a known quantity. It's the same thing like every time.
I get that.
Like I'm not gonna get tired of it, but also at the same
But
time,
also
it's
you're
not
wrong.
exciting. Okay.
S'mores is the answer.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
So hey, if you comment when the tweet goes live that this episode goes live, reply with your favorite type of Pop-Tart. I'm very interested to see how wrong I am.
Yeah, and tell me why you agree that it's s'mores.
Our second question is from @DJTJRL on Twitter. Gen G versus G2 going into LAN. How are we feeling about them?
Interesting. This is a good question.
It is a very good question. I'm actually hoping to do a deep dive in our little bit of a break from RLCS play before the major into the chances that they have going in, because most people in their top 10 lists in the world, G2/Gen G don't come in until around 4 or 5, right? It's Karmine Corps, it's BDS, it's Falcons, then maybe G2, then maybe 3 or 4 more, and then Gen G.
Are we talking about this specific matchup?
No, just like these two teams.
Just in general, who has better chances?
Yes, I think that's the
Okay.
question.
I almost want to say Gen G.
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, Appjack has that, the knowledge of EU play better than I think a lot of the G2 players do.
Right.
But, just from a pure ability standpoint, I think G2 is a better team. I think anyone on their team has the mechanics they could pop off and go supernova.
For sure.
But I think Gen G has a higher floor, right? So I think them performing badly will be better than G2 performing badly.
Definitely.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I think that if G2 is playing like they did in Regional 2 and, sweeping Gen G, then I think it's G2, but if they're playing any other way, then it's Gen G. What about you?
I think I mean pretty much everything you just said. I think Gen G is going to make it further.
I don't think that's a crazy hot take.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and that brings us to our last question from @theDylan on Twitter. Do we think that Luminosity and OG are going to perform better than Gen G and G2 against international teams?
I like the easy questions, like what's your favorite Pop-Tart?
So this is an interesting question because you look at two teams, especially in NA, that have really, really embraced the bump and physicality meta. Luminosity is always sending one, in some cases 2 players, to delete or bump the other team. and that has opened up a lot of space for them, for Cheese specifically, to flourish. So I think that we see a lot of physicality in EU, but I don't know necessarily that they see it to this level. So I think that maybe from a surprise factor, I think you could have some surprise results from Luminosity and OG, because remember, OG has Noli, and he performed very well last season, and he has a very in-depth knowledge of how EU Rocket League is. I think that if I had to pick, I think OG would perform better than Luminosity, just because of all of the experience that they have with, Com and with JNAPS especially in there. So I could see them performing very well. However, I don't know they have the ceiling that like a Gen G or a G2 has.
And if I remember right, I believe version 1 usually performed pretty well against EU teams.
They did.
So I feel like that would kind of carry over to OG as well.
Yeah.
Like I think Luminosity and OG are both gonna perform better than people expect against international teams, for sure.
I think so too. The only hesitation that I have is we saw Gen G be extremely physical against G2, and that's what got them the win. So it's like you don't know if they're being physical just because that's how to beat G2, or because that's the kind of the new play style that they're adapting. So, it'll remain to be seen, but I certainly do think that the play styles of Luminosity and OG can potentially catch out some of the international teams. Will it be enough to beat some of the top EU teams? I don't think so, but it'll certainly, I think it'll give them a little bit of a pause.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to add before we wrap up for today?
Nah, let's wrap this up, and I am hitting the hay.
Okay. Well, with that, we'd like to thank you guys so much for listening. We'd like to remind you to please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, as it really helps us out. Check out our other socials. All of those links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Also, honorable mention to Oreo Pop-Tarts.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.